Al-Atassi is a former senior member of the Syrian Opposition Coalition and joins us live now from Washington. Farah, first of all, thank you very much for your time. Could you describe for us your emotions since the fall of the former Assad regime?
Yes, I am like everyone, every Syrian who believed in the Syrian revolution. We have a very mixed feeling, of course, of happiness, of victory, of pride. But today, when we see these horrors coming from the Syrian Holocaust, which is the Sadnaya prison, we feel all the sad memories come back to our mind to remember what the Assad regime did for the Syrian people, not only the past 13 years during the Syrian revolution, but the past 40 years of Assad rule. Today, I think when the world watch all of these stories, and we're still looking for prisoner right now under the ground. When they see these stories, women, children, young people, people were arrested when they were only 11 years old or 18 years old, and they are now like 44 years old. So they will understand why the Syrian people determined to get rid of Bashar al-Assad and his regime, and why the Syrian revolution determined to keep the fight till we liberated Syria from this brutal regime.
And Farah, why, in your opinion, has Mohamad Al-Bashir been chosen to lead the transitional government? Is he a good choice, in your opinion, from what you know?
That's a very good question, but everybody is saying, oh, we have our own worries about the day next after the fall of Bashar al-Assad. But I would like to remind the world that there was a city called Idlib. A lot of people thought that Idlib is the dumping ground of the former Syrian regime, where he get rid of his political opponent, whereas Idlib was in fact the factory of the revolution. The Syrian revolutionary forces in Idlib were working hard for the past 6 years to organize themselves, to train their national resources, and train the military forces, to train the administrative forces, and they formed the Syrian Salvation Army, which is today is led by Prime Minister Mohamad Al-Bashir. So in order to ensure that there is no vacuum after the fall of Bashar al-Assad, it's a necessity right now, especially in terms of all the challenges that the Syrian faces after the fall of the regime. It's very important to have what I call it a peaceful transition of power. And we see that Mohamad Al-Bashir is sitting with the former prime minister of the former Assad regime to coordinate. So we make sure that the daily life of the Syrian people is not interrupted, that the institutional organization and the state of Syria will not fall. We said when we went out against Bashar al-Assad that we want to change the regime and we want the fall of the regime. We didn't say that we want the fall of the Syrian state. So it's very important to preserve the state of Syria, and it is very important at this time to have a temporarily government or administrative government that run the day-to-day life of the Syrian people, so we don't fall into power vacuum.
Farah, just how delicate a situation are we looking at here in Syria? Because it's not just navigating Syria's transitional phase, but it's also addressing both political instability and, of course, the reconstruction of war-torn regions across the country.
Yeah, that's a very important question, but I think the Syrians learned from their own pain, they learned from their own mistakes, they learned through this 13 years in this journey of the Syrian revolution, they learned a lot. And as I told you, they train themselves on the administrative level, on the military level, on the governance level. And today we see who is really breaking the chains of the prisoners in Sadnaya and elsewhere are the white helmet and the Syrian defense forces of the Syrian revolution. They've been working so hard for that day. Today, it's very important for us as a Syrian national who believe in Syria, who believe in Syria, the state, to sit together, all of us on one table to dialogue and to talk about the future of Syria and the state that we would like all to rebuild. We should put our own Marshall Plan without the interference of any country, without any agendas right and left. We want to sit and put the national agenda of the Syrian people, what works for the national interest of the Syrian people economically, socially, politically, regionally, in terms of peace and security. All of these issues should be on the table, and this table have all the Syrians from every ethnicity, from every religion, from every political beliefs. They should sit on one table and dialogue and try to build the transitional government that will run and prepare for a new Syrian state.
Farah, we really appreciate your time and your thoughts. Farah al-Atassi, a former senior member of the Syrian Opposition Coalition, speaking to us live there.
Thank you for having me.